Hello, dear students. This is Dr. Srinivasappaji, uh, Department of English, Government State College, Sira, affiliated to Tumakuru University, Karnataka. This is the sixth video session wherein I am going to conclude the poem The Tiger. The poem has 6 seasons, and this is the last session where I am going to conclude the poem The Tiger by William Blake. And while concluding the poem, let us see how the poet ends the poem. The poem, Tiger, it begins with a direct address of the tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. And the same poem, it ends with the same repetition of lines by addressing the same. And there is a question for the readers. Why the poet begins and ends with the same lines? Do we think whether the poet is not satisfied with the series of questions that he asked himself throughout the poem? If he could find answers which satisfies his eagerness, then there shall not be a question of repeating the same thing. And this repetition of lines about the beginning and end of the poem is quite interesting for us to discuss. Right now, let us see how the poem is going to end, what message the poet gives and the poem carries for the readers as well. It is most important thing. The poem Tiger has a valuable message at the end. He is telling that there is a valuable message. Let us see what is that valuable message for the people to adapt by reading the poem as well. See that when we read the poem and look into the poem and understand every line and word and expressions of the poem, we see in every line the beauty of the animals. Wherever we see and whichever the word we see that, or expression or any line, there is a point which is haunting in the mind of the poet around the type beauty. So there are two kinds of beauty in the nature. One is mild beauty, harmless beauty, and other is wild and terrible beauty. When I say the word terrible beauty, I can immediately point out or quote that is W.B. Yeats. W.B. Yeats, a poet of 20th century, and is a modern, the great modern, and he wrote the poem The Second Coming. In the poem Second Coming, we see the terrible beauty is at hand. See that. Terrible beauty is at hand. That is, a doomsday is at hand. Second coming of Jesus is not the right time. Is there a bad time for the world? When he came first, he came as innocent. And you could find a harmonious the relationship in the people. In the second coming, that Jesus will come in a ferocious mood, in a wild mood, a cruel mood, a disastrous mood, a violent mood, in order to re-establish the state of the world. And there we could see the expression terrible beauty. Here again we see the terrible beauty of the tiger. Here tiger comes not to re-establish anything else. It is by just the nature of the tiger to be like this. But the context that W.B. Yeats used is entirely different from the Blake used. Right. Though both are living together, both animals are living together. Animal, the wild and the animal and that is the mild animal, they were living together in the same forest. They are different in the nature. By nature, they were different. By their appearance, they were different. Their emotion, they were entirely different. The meek and weak animal is always victim of strong and wild animal. In a system, in any system, whether it is the wild, the world of the forest or the human world, we could see that that is very weak and meek. And the honest person is just a victim of the dishonest and powerful and violent person. This is not only in the human world, but it is also in the world of animals. And therefore, the poet is saying that the meek and the weak animal is always victim of strong and wild animal like tiger. Because the weak animal is the food for the wild animal. By nature, the wild animals, it is taking the flesh. Wild animal usually it is taking the grass. The one is vegetable and other is not vegetable. We see that. However, the Blake as a mystic poet blends the wild and mild beauties are incorporated and inculcated in a man which is represented in two different animals. Human emotions and human characters, human behaviors, human sensibility is incorporated having the two different the emotions in a soul, a particular soul. Therefore, here we see that that is the poet, William Blake, is going to blend, is going to treat both the beauties, the same side. The treatment of the terrible beauty and the treatment of the mild beauty is the same for the poet. Because he just sees the beauty. Wild and mild nature is nothing to the poet. But how beautiful the two animals are, though there is a ferocious nature and though there is a mild nature, that is a different question to the poet. Let us see now some critical appreciation of the poem that we have observed when we read the poem. Here in the poem, the poet glorifies the terrible beauty of the tiger. We see that the poet glorifies, the poet prizes, the poet worships the terrible beauty of the tiger, which is created by the creator, the master, our God. And beautifully described it with great effect. The poet wonderfully describes the terribility, the terrible appearance, the terrible movement, terrible majesty, terrible eyesight of the tiger. It is highly imaginative poem. The poet just sits somewhere and is just imagining himself where tiger may come, how it could come, how it is created. What is the purpose behind it to come through the forest? These things are that is imagined by the poet. And the poet has a great vision while creating the tiger and describing the tiger. That is what we see in the poem. Therefore, the poem is highly imaginative. It is a romantic feature. We see the romantic feature in the romantic poetry. The imagination is highly mainly focused. An importance is given for human imagination, human vision, human wishes are highly respected. As a romantic poet, play gives much scope for imagination. How power of imagination of a man could create and could profess things that will happen later. And being a romantic poet, he worships the mystery of the nature. The mystery while creating the tiger, it is worships by the poet William Blake. In order to impress the tiger, impress the terrible beauty of the tiger, the poet directly addresses the tiger, speaks with the master of creation. We see there is an interaction between the creator and the poet through the tiger. Here, tiger is a tool through which the poet is going to interact and discuss and tries to find the answer to the series of questions that are in his mind. The entire poem has more questions, a series of questions. Every stanza we can find a question. The question is entirely different. It is correlated to every stanza to stanza, every the question to question. And though there are many questions, they are interrelated, interdependent, and all are there is a coherent and coherence in the questions that the poet has, that is created. The poet has that is organized poem like this. He tries to find the answers, and ultimately, the poet himself finds the possible answers for his questions. And this is how the poet, that is William Blake, is a pre-romantic poet. He, that is that is mainly focus on some of the features of the romantic movement, and as a mystic poet of the period, he that is wonderfully designed the poem and tries to mainly focus in giving the message to the people, how people has to balance the emotions today. In the modern days, we see that man having all the emotions, he cannot control on the emotions and the sensibility, and there is imbalance in the emotion. Therefore, they could face a lot of the problems by himself, and problems are created by himself, not by others immediately. And therefore, the best tiger in the tiger poem, the Blake, he would give that is a valuable message to the people, how we have to control and we have to blend such emotions, and we should bring a kind of equilibrium between or among the emotions. Man has to control himself. This is the message that I would like to share with all of you. And thank you very much for listening the lengthy poem and having 6 sessions. Thank you very much. Let us meet in the next video session. Thank you for listening, kind listening. Thank you very much.